I always started my day the same way. Black coffee, my morning paper, the sound of my wife rummaging through drawers, looking for pills that weren't there. It's a soul-breaking, humbling feeling when you realize the work you do out there, keeping the streets clean, doesn't mean much when you can't even keep things in order at home. And I was about to receive my biggest wake-up call. I've seen a hell of a lot in my 25 years on the force. Things you wouldn't even imagine. But nothing prepared me for Marcy. My wife was enigmatic, charming. She could walk into a room and make people believe they'd stumbled into a work of art. Her future was bright, lined with galleries and exhibitions. She just had this raw talent that could only come from a place of deep sensitivity. I always admired that about her. That was before the pipe got her.
That time I laughed till I couldn't breathe. That time I cried but found relief. Stories that shape us, they never fade. A platform where memories are made. Tell your tale, let it unfold. That time I ran beneath the sun. That time I lost but still had fun.
It started with the "just try it once" gateway, where stimulants helped her stay awake to make deadlines. Then came the depressants, which aided in forgetting bad reviews. Then the "just to take the edge off" bump. The "just to feel inspired" shrooms. She claimed it opened parts of her mind she'd never explored. I knew where this was headed, and it was no place good, but she fought against every offer of help. Her inner demons were louder than my pleas. Every day I'd see her slowly erode. First it was her affection, then her optimism, her confidence, then her looks. The door became a daily battle. I'd stare at it every day, fighting the urge to leave and restore some peace in my life. But my Catholic guilt made me feel somewhat obligated to stay and keep the promise I made in my vows. It was especially hard because memories of who she used to be still lingered in our home. I couldn't just walk away from that. I knew the drugs were just a cover to suppress the fear of failure, the crushing weight of expectations, the guilt of watching me solve problems she was causing, and the intrusive belief that she wasn't enough, no matter how much I reminded her how much she meant to me and others. At some point, she stopped believing that and fell in deeper with the type of people who didn't ask her to get better. I spent my days unraveling the darkest corners of the city, traffickers, mobs, gangs. But addiction wasn't something I could arrest, and Marcy wasn't a case I could just file away. It pained me that she could see beauty in everything but herself. One Monday in spring, the situation worsened. I was called to a local pawn shop where she tried to sell my service weapon. That one stung. At this point, there were two options: arrest her or leave her. But I couldn't bring myself to do either. I guess I was as deep in denial as she was. A few weeks later, at 12:32 a.m., I received a call. I've worked this job long enough to know calls after midnight never carried good news. An hour later, there was a knock at my door. I thought I could compartmentalize, badge in one hand, broken home in the other. But trouble doesn't respect boundaries, especially when it comes wrapped in family. Marcy had finally crossed the line. She'd been picked up by one of my officers, riding shotgun in a car that happened to belong to a mid-level dealer turned informant who was found deceased on his living room floor. His car was missing from the driveway. "How could you let this happen? Why were you in that car?" She rambled nonsensical phrases in response, clearly not in the state to recall what happened. She eventually passed out on the sofa, while I stayed awake to get the details of the situation.
There was residue on her wrist, traces of fentanyl. I'm guessing she was there to score. She was already pretty out of it when I approached her.
I knew my wife couldn't possibly have done this, but the streets were already whispering. And once suspicion sticks, it spreads like wildfire. Internal affairs was next. The room felt colder than any interrogation I've ever conducted. Very impersonal. They wanted to know the depths of Marcy's involvement and how much I knew, but I couldn't tell them anything. I knew nothing. All I knew for sure was that I was embarrassed. 25 years of service reduced to gossip in the precinct and side eyes from men I've trained. The badge never felt heavier.
Detective, your wife was found in the victim's car, with the victim's blood all over her clothes. You're telling us you know nothing? You didn't know who she was with? Is there anything you do know?
I knew she needed help. She's been dealing with this problem for quite some time.
What problem?
Drugs, pills, crack, cocaine, the whole lot.
Your wife is a key witness in an active homicide investigation. Evidence places her at the scene, and she was found in his car. Your inability to provide clarity is concerning.
What do you want me to say? I came home after a long day at work and my wife was gone. She wasn't home. Yes, I knew there was a possibility she was out, getting high and doing what she usually does. But after years of picking her up in the dingiest of places, kicking and screaming, I let myself savor the peace and quiet. I knew she'd stumble back eventually. I'm so tired of carrying this.
Unfortunately, your marriage to her presents a professional conflict.
The lieutenant slid the crime scene photos across the table, showing Marcy in the passenger seat, half conscious, blood on her shirt. I can't tell you what I don't know.
Detective Malloy, we've concluded that your continued presence on the force compromises the integrity of the investigation and the department at large. Effective immediately, you're dismissed from duty. Please turn in your gun and your badge.
I couldn't bring myself to say another word. I did as they said, then walked out the room as the camera captured the moment my career went up in flames. I never felt more ashamed in my life. Everything I'd built was crumbling. My career, my marriage. And for the first time, I couldn't fix it. The streets didn't fear me anymore. My department didn't trust me. And the woman who was once my anchor put me in the middle of this storm. I always thought I'd end my career in a blaze of glory or some heroic standoff. Instead, it was fluorescent lights, cold stares, a red blinking light recording the death of who I thought I was, and a letter shoved across the desk telling me my career was over, effective immediately. Depression set in pretty quickly as I realized the magnitude of my situation. My pension? Frozen. My friends, who I'd covered in shootouts and defended every single day for the last 25 years? Non-existent. The only person in my corner at this point was the person who caused this turmoil. She swore she had nothing to do with the demise of that man, and I believed her, but her connection to the other suspect in the car didn't help matters. I wanted to yell at her, shake her back into the woman I once loved, but there was no use. It wasn't going to remedy my broken reputation. Weeks passed and my savings were starting to evaporate. Something inside me snapped. I did all the right things, but somehow I still wound up with my life in ruins. If the city wanted to call me dirty, fine. I'd show them just how dirty I could get.